Gayatri Mahamantra with your back straight. Om Bhurabhuvah Swaha Tatsaviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yona Prachodayat. Invocation of the Divine Master, Adi Guru Muni Ved Vyas. Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Deva Maheshwara, Guru Deva Sakshat Parbrahma, Tasmai Shri Guruve Namo Namah, Akhand Mandalakaram Vyaptam Yena Characharam, Tatpadam Darshitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namo Namah, Om Shri Guruve Namo Namah, Vyas Rupena Avahyami Sthapyami Dhyayami, Pujyami Tato Namaskaram Karomi. Srimad Bhagavad Gita, chapter number 8, Akshara Brahma Yoga, verse number 25. Before I come upon the words of the shlok, the text, there is a need for me to bring in certain explanations so that under the light of that explanation, we can very well cite and understand the text. Srimad Bhagavad Gita has been interpreted by several great masters, and the process of interpretation has been going on since last more than 1000 years now, by 1000 years. After it was extricated by the great master Adiguru Shankaracharya, Bhagavad Gita has acquired the seat above the seat of several scriptures. In this particular verse, which is entangled with the one that preceded it, verse number 24, it's a mention about the departure of a being from this mortal plane. If a being departs in a particular time, within a frame of a particular time span, the being shall emancipate and cherish the prime objective of one's manifestation, that is emancipation, moksha. And if the being departs within a particular time span other than the one which was indicated before earlier, then the being shall manifest again, reincarnate, rebirth. Now, talking about the time span when one would emancipate if departs, and the one wherein one would come back again and manifest and reincarnate, we have to understand the ethos behind the mentioning. It's not only about the time span. Well, let me reiterate the time span as the verse conveys thickly understanding the time span between January to June, thickly, not going with the precise dates, January to June, when the sun is in its own ascending position, that has been termed as the Uttarayan, those 6 months. And when the sun is in a descending mode, it's in a descent, that's between July to December, has been termed as Dakshinayana, northward, southward. When the sun is moving towards north, that is the ascending sun between January to June, if a being departs from the mortal plane, it emancipates. And if the being departs between July to December during the descending period, then it shall reincarnate, have a rebirth. So, merely going by these understandings that confine us to the words that limit the time span for the departure and emancipation, or the departure and rebirth, shall not suffice the essence of the immutable scripture. The timeless master would not go on such grounds which can be challenged by the times to come. We generally observe around us people who are not much evolved. Even they depart from this mortal plane during January to June. So, does that mean that anyone and everyone, whosoever it may be, maybe even during the moments of any pandemic or famine, etc., if they all depart during that time span, shall certainly emancipate? No, the intellect might question this kind of an understanding. So, how do we understand this now? How do we comprehend the complexity ridden intellect of the modern age may not accept this. So there is a need to probe it further and give ourselves a meaning and understanding which shall qualify to the standards of the spiritual ascent which the immutable scripture wants to establish. What is that? Having gone through several scriptures and interpretations of great masters, the kind of understanding this small teacher concludes is that yes, the northward and the southward, the directional indicator is not for the ascent or descent of the sun in the sky. Why so? Because in both the verses, there is a particular word which has been used, specially deployed to convey the bedrock upon which the entire understanding of these words is based. What is that word? Yogi, which means that the understanding of northward or southward, emancipation or again entrapment, is for whom? Not for anyone else, but for a yogi. So, if it is for a yogi, then we have to understand both the verses with some different background. Had it been a common shlok, common verse for anyone and everyone, we would have simply drawn a blanket upon it and then would have conveyed to us January to June, July to December. The former is the northward, the latter is the southward. In the former, you emancipate, in the latter, you again come to the entrapment of rebirth. But no, it's not so. It's about a yogi. It's about the emancipation to a yogi and rebirth to a yogi. Who is a yogi? The yogi is one who has now embarked upon the journey of evolution, one who has now understood somewhere within that the prime objective of my manifestation is to emancipate. I am not here to remain entrapped into the cycle of rebirth, leaving the mortal plane, again coming back with a karmic bondage, again cherishing that karmic bondage, either adding up to something new or incinerating the past bondage, whatever it may be. But I am not here for baggage dispensation. I am not here for entrapment into a vicious cycle. I am here for a different objective. And that objective is to permanently bail out of it, to emancipate, mokshartha. One who has understood that. Yes, of course, yes. The efforts of such a yogi who has now understood that moksha is my primary objective has started struggling within himself or herself, trying to tread or inch further every day, unsuccessful, yet embarks upon with whatever energy or enthusiasm or the blissfulness one can contain within oneself, which means that you keep on trying despite countless failures, but you're not able to leave it. You're not able to become oblivion that no, I don't want to remember. I erase that from my memory forever. Delete the file, even from the trash forever. Recycle bin empty. I was never in a firm belief that I must emancipate. That's not possible. The yogi is one who cannot become oblivion to this fact. The yogi is one who, despite of the reluctance, shall again and again embark upon sadhana to purify, to evolve, and then again try to cherish, may accrue to failures. Countless time does not matter. The number of failures do not matter. What matters most is he or she shall rise again, recall again the primary objective of life, and again struggle through, despite of countless failure. That is a yogi. Why I am trying to explain the term yogi so that you can relate and connect to that. That are you a yogi too? Yes, you are a yogi too. Otherwise, the subjects of Bhagavad Gita shall hold no interest to you. Otherwise, sadhana in any form, whether regular or irregular, whether with some experience or no experience, whether with doubt prone mind and a scintillating intellect, whatever this case may be. But yet, you cannot detach, disassociate, disembark from this journey. You have to be somehow remain connected with that. If that is so, then you are a yogi. If you have an insight that acts like a pendulum swinging between two polarities, indulgence, detachment. There are sessions when there is a spell of indulgence. There are sessions in life when there is a spell cast upon you for detachment, vairagya, but yet you swing between both. At times you're engrossed into entertainment or cherishing your wish, and at times you're absolutely beyond into vairagya, but you're not stationary. Although that you remain connected but you're not stationary, the objective is not very clear to you. At times it seems that this is the only objective, but other times it is quite hazy, a lot of smoke around. So clarity in absolute terms is missing. At times things are visible. You can sight within yourself your own existence, which is beyond this mortal plane. You are beyond thought, imagination, and emotion. You are an existence. At times, you're able to experience it, maybe in a very short span of duration, time, like a spark, but yet it is there. You can disassociate from all ongoings and experience yourself for the infinitesimal period of time. But yes, you do. And there are times when a prolonged spell of indulgence is cast upon to you. You say, there is a lot of smoke, yet there is some clarity before me. But I cannot claim that I now have the clarity in absolute terms. Smoke still exists. And that is the first word which this shlok will use. The moment I bring the slide before you, you shall be able to cite that. There is smoke. When there is smoke, absence of clarity, lack of clarity. When there is smoke, when there is night, night means not the night when we sleep, when the sun is not there in the sky. Night means that there is some light, but not the kind of effulgence that we are able to sight during the blazing sun, especially in the summers when you see that blazing sun, lot of effulgence outside. No, not that. Here it means when the subjects of importance, especially in the light of your primary objective in life, when they are not full of that vibrance, that radiance, that luminosity, you are aware, yet you are under some spell of darkness. Your own energies have not gathered a movement upward. Ascension has not started yet. You do not have adequate energy within yourself to incinerate your impurities. Yes, you can cite certain weaknesses within yourself. You can cite lot many subjects of life that come and disturb this settled state of mind, but yet that adequate reservoir of energy is not there within you, which can simply rebut or thwart the spell of these inward coming intruders that want to create a turbulence within your settled state of mind. Still dark. Dark not to the state pitch dark, but dark wherein you can see, but not with that clarity. That knowledge, that knowledge has not been able to bring that effulgence wherein there is no scope for anything to be obliterated, crisp, clear effulgence. No, that is missing. So that is night. When there is smoke, lack of clarity. When there is night, effulgence missing, yet something visible. And when the sun is during the span of those 6 months, 6 months termed as Krishna Masa, when it's in the descending mode from roughly, thickly speaking, July to December, then it should be termed as Dakshinayan, southward. What are those 6 months? You don't have to forget the six vital centers within your own yogic anatomy. I'm giving it a term, yogic anatomy. When the prana is moving upwards, ascending, each center can be termed as 1 month, starting from Muladhar onwards. Although these centers are five primary in number, the sixth one is the determinant, the one that steers, yet it is termed as one of these centers. So these six centers are six stops, 6 months, which must be spent awakened. Before that, one cannot claim that my movement of the prana is now in the ascending mode. It should be considered as a descent. When you undergo some spiritual sadhana, your prana rises, it tries to rise above, scales upward. Then again, there is some intrusion of some uncherished desire, some yearning, some seeking of the mortal plane that comes and devours your energies. And when it devours your energies, what happens? A descend. The moment your energies are outward, deployed by the sensorial drivers to execute and cherish their unmindful journeys. In other words, when your senses usurp your energy for outward execution, outward dispensation, that should be understood as southward, Dakshinayana. So there are three aspects to be understood: smoke, night, and Dakshinayan, which is Krishna Paksha, not with the lunar, with the only the moon, but with the movement of the sun from July to December. That is Krishna Shanmasa, the 6 months to be termed as Krishna when it's the descent. So, what does it indicate? The smoke indicates to the lack of clarity. Yes, something is known to you. That's why you are a yogi. Yogi who is now waiting to fulfill, to cherish that blessedness forever, that you are a yogi. You have embarked upon the journey. You are undoubtedly a yogi. So you have lack of clarity. Something is there before you, but not in absolute terms. You have not yet cherished the kind of effulgence that can incinerate inner impurities. That's why it is Ratri, the night. And your movement of the prana is not ascending in absolute terms. It ascends, but again drops back for the utilization by the outward sensorial dispensations. Indulgence comes and casts its spell upon you. So you are still like a pendulum. You go toward one leg towards detachment, another towards indulgence. You are in between. The term used for that is generally vikshipta. You are in between vikshipta and ekagra. At times you concentrate, at times you are merely swinging. So that has been termed here. Now I come straight away to the shloka so that you can connect to the words Dhumaharatri tatha Krishna Shanmasa Dakshinayanam. The words have been interpreted. Tatra Chandramasam Jyoti Yogi Prapya Nivartate. And then by the light of the moon, Chandra, Jyoti, the light of the moon, the yogi attains a rebirth. Yogi Prapya Nivartate, comes back again to the womb of the mother. Now, what does the light of the moon has to convey in this? The above words were understood. The smoke was understood. The night was understood smoke as lack of clarity. The night that there is not so much of effulgence that one can incinerate one's own inner shortfalls, impurities, etc. And yes, Krishna Sharmasa understood as the descending pranic energy, prana energy, which otherwise should scale upward and acquire the seat of the cerebrum for awakening. Instead of that, again it goes down, a descent, and then it runs outwards to cherish objectives of this mortal plane. That much is understood. But what about the light of the moon? Yes, here moon indicates the state of mind, chitta, the scintillating, wavering, not stationary. Today this, tomorrow that, shift in priorities by the objects or subjects or people that come across you, that you come across, in fact. When you come across people of different kind of nature, you come across situations of different kind or subjects of different kind, your chitta is not stationary, not settled. You scintillate, you move, you waver. So the moon is the indicator for the state of mind. Those who know astrology, not me because I am not a student of astrology, would appreciate that yes, moon is associated with the state of mind. And Jyoti, the light, is the outcome. So, what is the outcome of the state, the light of moon? It's an unsettled state, an inside which is not settled. And if the inside is not settled, you are bound to get entrapped into rebirth, irrespective that you are a yogi, which does not bereft you from anything, but that you have to have manifest again, take a rebirth, again start working upon the primary objective, gear up maybe within next 2 to 3 lives more, or maybe more, 4 to 5 lives. I cannot give a precise number to that. And then exhaust your yearnings, your seekings, your uncherished desires. The moment you exhaust them, then the prana moves upward, ascension. When you go into sadhana, the entire prana goes upward, upward, upward. It's not today, not tomorrow, the day after, but the same every day. But what happens now? At the moment, what happens is that on a particular day, you are into a journey of a blessedness, a blessed journey of blessedness. But at other times, there is no experience. You feel that you have been left dry. You have not accomplished at all in your sadhana. And at times it happens that since past 2 months, I have not experienced that kind of blessedness. I have not cherished that joy. I am simply sitting and getting up empty handed, all empty handed, nothing come down to me. No. For a yogi who has already exhausted all yearnings of this mortal plane, shall observe every day the same state. Rather, if I may exceed to an extent and convey, the yogi in such a state would experience evolution, ascension by every passing moment. There is no holding, there is no outward seeking which would hinge and bring it down. No, nothing. It's everything is now immune. The endurance which has built up within one's own existence is unfathomable. It's not vulnerable to any kind of infringement. One would simply go on evolving, the energy would go on rising, rising, rising to the cerebrum, waiting for the final movement. And then what happens? Emancipation, mokshartha. So, till that happens, the mind would not be in a settled state. So, if you really want to know that you are going to emancipate in this very life or some other life, there is no need for you to go and ask this question to anyone. The answer is just laid down before yourself. You simply have to unravel within yourself, turn the pages, and ask yourself, To what extent am I still hinged towards outward seekings? Do the subjects outside still extricate my creative energy? Am I still entangled? Or have I completely disassociated? Is the state of my mind now like a bedrock, like a rock in like a bedrock in an ocean? Or is my state of mind still prone, vulnerable towards all kind of intrusions that they come, they sway, they take me for a ride and then again drop me? When you ask this question, the answers before you shall automatically reveal that you are going to have any next birth, or is this the final one? No need to ask this question to anyone. No need to get perturbed by this fact that this is the life, or and no need to unnecessarily obsess yourself by saying that this is the last life for me. Ask yourself, unravel, and analyze yourself. The basic litmus test is clear. There is no intricate formality involved into it. Just diagnose yourself, examine unbiased with an unbiased mode, and ask yourself, am I still indulged? Or am I in between indulgence and detachment? Or have I totally detached? My state of mind is never impressed. It remains absolutely unaffected by all ongoings outside. The answer shall be revealed before you. And I believe, if I have to speak about myself, well, you have to examine yourself at your own end and then find out the answer for you yourself. But here, for myself, when I unravel, I examine myself, I am at the moment in a state of Dakshinayan. I am not in the Uttarayan mode, although we'll cover Uttarayan in the next words to come. But yes, if I analyze myself, I am in the Dakshinayan mode. Yes, there are moments when I'm absolutely detached. I'm not associated with any subject of this world. But yes, at the same time, there are subjects of the mortal plane. They come, they take me into their own engulf. I get into their gulf. Yes, I become entrapped. So I can say about myself, yes, I am going to have a rebirth. I'm very sure I'm going to have a rebirth. One or more, I may not be able to count them, but I'm sure. Yes, I am a yogi, but I am going to have a rebirth because I am not detached in absolute terms. I still have smoke. I still do not have that adequate reservoir of effulgence that can incinerate my impurities. Yes, the outward seeking still withdraw my prana and offer it as an oblation to my senses. Therefore, I know with an unsettled state of mind, I am Dakshinayan. I am going to have a rebirth. That's how I judge myself. You, at your end, are exclusively a sovereign in your own capacity who has to judge and find out where you stand. Analyze yourself and cherish the real objective of the secret which is embedded into the words of this particular shloka. More to come in the next classroom. Till then, ओम ही सत्य है, ओम ही सत्य है, ओम ही सत्य है.